Beautiful. Now, previously we had, or I had introduced the subject of how to handle ex-prisoners when it comes to, or when they come to the community, and it revolves around management of ex-convicts amongst us. I also mentioned that in every community we cannot miss at least one or two persons who have gone through the prison systems, whether in remand or in serving a term, complete in custodial imprisonment. And of course, we have those who are serving non-custodial imprisonment who are being convicted outside the prison facility. And that means these are those people who are not confined in any way. And so, having understood this and the basic requirements for us to be able to manage these convicts, it is one thing that is very important is as soon as somebody is put in isolation for a given time, then he is prone to mental effects and mental challenges that many of us don't seem to know. And many a times when somebody comes out of custody, then there is a likelihood that for him to be able to interact with the society, the mental perception that he has of himself, first of all, besides that of the society, becomes a very big problem upon him. And so it is important to watch for mental health warning signs, especially from this person. You will notice that anytime the ex-convict has come amongst us, one, he acts like a stranger. And he seems to be out of place because the language that he is used to in prison, the activities he is in prison that were going on there, is not the same as what is going on in the free world. Being denied freedom for a while, for some time, it's so hectic that it disorientates one's mentality. So while being released from prison, it's a very happy and joyful experience. Reintegrating into the society can be extremely stressful. I remember when I came out of the custodial confinement, the first day upon stepping of the gate outside, that is when stress comes up. One, you've got to get how or maneuver on how to get bus fare to get home, because on many occasions it's very hard for the facility to provide you with money to go home. However, there are those that do the same and they provide you for the same, or they call relatives to come and collect you and pick you from where. So, from the gates of the prison facility, that is where the stressful moments begin. So, what's more, the rejection from family, friends, and society that is so common for ex offenders can quickly foster the growth of self doubt, anxiety, and depression. To just name a few of them, these are the effects that can bring up health or mental problems to the prisoner. And so there are a couple of things that we need to do to break this cycle in time, so that we should be able to manage and control the mental issues when it comes to the offenders. Now, we need to help these people to understand the benefits or the joy of being restored into the society, and give them love. Now, love, the Bible says, covers a multitude of sins. Now, the moment you show them love, when you open their heart to receive them, they also open their hearts to accept you, because one, they have rejected themselves and they're being rejected by the society. So as soon as you open your heart for them, they open their hearts for you. Then you are able to intermingle and empathize and live together and keep talking to them, to have a free mind. The Bible says in the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 1, let me say up to 3, says that we need to be transformed by the renewal of our minds. So anything that happens to an ex-prisoner is something to do with the mind. So we need to transform their mind by talking to them positive things and changing their perception, and let them know that they are now in a free world, in as much as they have to keep law and order, because they are high suspects in the society now. It's important for them to know that the society has embraced them and loved them. So, the mental health issues which are common with the ex-prisoners, and them that I know they continuously they're being released into the society. The common problems that they encounter when they come into the society is post-incarceration syndrome. Post-incarceration syndrome is actually is similar to post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, this syndrome can cause people to continue to experience mental effects long after their sentence has ended, because there is that traumatic experience of what you have gone through and how the society perceives of you. Now, when these people go through that system, then it is very likely that they are going to be weighed down by the pressures of life, stresses of life, and affects their mind drastically. And at this point, you will realize that what any slight distraction with them, they tend to react very negatively or offensively or resist any action or anything to do with an offense possibly that they committed. And many a times, for example, when they have come into the society, any crime that occurs within the vicinity, the first suspect becomes the ex-convict. However, just for us to be able to understand this is that the first person who suspects himself, even if he has not committed any offense, is the ex-convict himself. So as soon as he comes out of prison and he is settled, we need to let him know about that he is embraced into the society, and do not show him any signs of anybody being taken to the police, because the journey to prison is to a police station or to any allegation that is leveled against him. So do not mention any allegation towards that tends towards him, even a slightest mistake. Do not mention any allegation of criminality towards him, because he is always, or he or she is very sensitive to any offenses that are targeting or that tend towards accusation. So there is that effect of post-incarceration syndrome that affects the ex-convict. Now, there is this what we call institutionalized personality traits. Institutionalized personality traits, these can include distrusting others, having difficulty maintaining relationships, and social sensory disorientations. So when these people are out of custody or out of confinement, they no longer trust anybody. Even their own family members, they don't trust them. So leave alone whoever comes, even pastors, because in custody, in confinement, we have their pastors, politicians are there, policemen are there. Every person in the society is in prison. The only person whom you might not find in prison is the president. But even magistrates are also in prison. So a prison facility is a collection, it is a community of people who are confined, having had a conflict with the law. And as I said earlier in the previous part one series, is that many of them are in custody not because of their own mistakes, but because they could not defend themselves in a court of law. And having in mind that the judiciary most of the time is prone to corruption and all kinds of biasness and poor investigative system, many of the people get into custody. And so this trusting of people becomes a problem. They can never trust anybody. And so, for you to be able to develop this kind of trust, you need to assimilate them into the society and build them and talk to them and walk with them through the journey of empathy and making them to become one with the society. And so that institutionalized personality traits, which involves mistrust, should be able to be gotten rid of at all times so that we're able to build one another. The other bit is antisocial personality disorder, ASPD, antisocial personality disorder. This is the most common diagnosis in prison, but there is a controversy over whether it should be considered as a mental illness. But it is a mental illness because when you have no building relationship with the society or the persons within that society, then you have a problem, because man or woman or human being was built or created as a social being. So when you have no connection with the society, or when you have no connection with the persons within your society because of, as I said earlier, mistrust and those that, then you have a problem which affects your mind, and that is a mental disorder. So we need to look at the developments consistently and possibly visit a counseling facility, go to churches, and this should involve, apart from close family network, then we need to involve the pastors and the church elders and ministries within us to build the people so that they understand the art of handling the ex-prisoners amongst ourselves. Because within a very short time, if we don't handle this issue, then we are going to have an outbreak of criminality in the society which will be out of control. Remember, these are people who have been put in custody in isolation, but still are able to reach out into the world through their phones and still get money out of them. Now, if they are in confinement and still they can corrupt the society, how about when they are inside here? So it is important to understand that if the government or the institutions do not stand strong and bring them up, because they still have rights in the society, then very soon, when they put their hands together out there in the free world, then a lot of issues are likely to occur and will disrupt the societies that we live in. Now, the other item is with respect to problems in development. Now, a human being is a societal person, or it's somebody who is part of a family. Now, when a breadwinner or any person has been taken into isolation or in captivity, on many occasions, this person was depended upon by family members or within the society. At least there is no man or woman who is an island. He is always dependent, or is depended upon by other people, one or two, either within his close family or within the secondary part of the family. For example, we have friends, we have cousins, we have all the others, we have orphans. Many of us have taken care of orphans and widows within our ability, even if we have our own nuclear families. And so when we have this understanding that this is somebody who needed to develop himself. Now, having wasted time in custody, regardless of whatever crime he committed, or whether he was in by virtue of some errors in the judiciary, but there is time that has lapsed with him. So when he is coming out of custody, he is behind time. So to build that time again and recover that time tortures his mind, and he is likely to have to go into depression, because his age mates, for example, or the people he was with before incarceration, have gone further ahead in development, and therefore the mind that is now in poverty, or his family is broken, might get him into substance abuse and physical and emotional and mental distraction, and he might end up into depression. So these are things that might likely affect in the mind of an ex-prisoner. The other thing is financial difficulties. He has come out of custody and there is nobody willing to lend him even a hand. In as much as many people talk whispering behind him, word will reach him by being sensitive. You will realize that he can sense the cold reception between the people towards himself or herself. So these people, when they have limited financial assistance, or they have none at all, it affects their mind, because they are supposed to fend for themselves and the family, because within a short time, 1 or 2 months, the family within them will start asking them, we need money for this. So they have financial difficulties, and this affect their mental health, and they have higher rates of unemployment or life social assistance is basically on those who are ex-convicts. And this is something that authorities need to look at, because ex-convicts do not get certificate of good conduct within the first year of their exit from prison. And therefore, since they cannot get the certificate of good conduct, it simply means that they cannot get employment from anywhere. And so it is simply a recycling effect, where now they are mentally retarded. Either some commit suicide, go back to offense, crime, or start substance abuse, and many other things that occur in the society. So it is time we put them into that understanding and teach them the law, how to maintain peace into the society, and let us not be harsh on them, but let us be accommodative and teaching them how to keep law and order. Because as soon as we keep a close eye to them, then they will always have that mind that I'm being monitored, just in case an event or an offense occurs, I'll be the first suspect, and therefore this tends them towards being taken back to incarceration. And so at this point, it is important to understand that we look at carefully their mental attitudes and their reaction towards one another. So we should be able to manage them at their own point, and understanding that this is somebody who has stayed with crazy, difficult criminals, and he is out, and we need to mold him into the society. Thank you very much. And as we get on to section 3, or part 3 of this program, then we will look at how to handle the same ex-convict, especially when it comes to his reaction towards the daily activities. For example, anger management and other things that reactive, they become very defensive on many occasions. So thank you very much, and I welcome you into the next session. If you have anybody you know within your family, within your closet, the church, or the friends who has been in custody, kindly put a comment down there so that we may be able to help one another. Shalom, and God bless you.